And it's 3 o'clock. That means it's Tech Tuesday. Today I'm going to be going through part 3 of my series on DOCSIS Proactive Network Maintenance, and specifically our PreEqualization Analyzer tool, which is a DOCSIS PNM tool, and we've got version 5 coming out here soon. And I just want to make sure that all of our users of that product are familiar with it. And we'll be right back, and I'll go through that. Thanks. Thanks for joining me. I'm Rick Uzzi here at ZQuorum, and again, today's topic, our PreEqualization Analyzer tool, version 5. So for those of you that are users of this, some of you are being moved over as I speak. Some of you may be on it now because you're in a trial, or you were a new installation just recently coming on board, so we went ahead and implemented you on version 5. But there's quite a few of you, most of you, that are still on version 4. So we've done a series of videos here, Tech Tuesday broadcast, that I've gone over some of the changes, what looks different, some of the new features that we've tried to go through, and hopefully that will get you comfortable when you do get switched over, that you can find things. I think you'll like the new interface, and I think you will appreciate some of the new features. So let's dive right in. And if you are watching live, you can go ahead and ask questions, make comments, whatever you want to do there, and that'll pop up on the chat screen. And when I see that, I'll try to answer that if I catch that while we're live. If you're catching this after the fact on the recorded broadcast, then just go ahead and type something in the comment section of YouTube, and I will get that question and either answer it there. If I can figure out who you are, I will send you a direct answer as well, if I can do that. So thanks for joining me today. So this is the PreEqualization Analyzer dashboard. I've been through this. Oh, and I will, by the way, in the comments section, I will post links to the prior 2 sessions just to make it a little bit easier to find if you're watching this one for the first time, hadn't seen the others. So I'll put links down there to the first 2 videos that I did. So this is the dashboard, and today I was going to talk about a couple of things that were one thing that's been in the product before, but it's changed a little bit, and that is the Upstream Analyzer. So if you go here and click Analyzer, then you'll bring up the Upstream Analyzer. I am going to actually look at one on a different system right there that I think has a better example, because the system that I'm looking at is a kind of a demo database. It does have a CMTS on there, but I think this one I found had a better example. So let's see, I'm going to be looking at, picking a node here, and I wanted to look at this one right here. So wait for that to load and pull this down a little bit. So one thing that you'll notice is you've got this yellow here, which is going to be the channel really that you're looking at and you're interested in. This is an adjacent channel right here. So you can see one thing that we've done, and this is, I believe this works with most CMTS, is now we don't show you the haystack on the channel that you're looking at. So what you've got basically is the noise floor. Right, so you can see the, right here you see on the legend, you've got max, min, live, and then you've got ingress, which would be ingress under the carrier. And that's probably the thing you're most interested in, is what's going on under the cable modems. And because of the fact that what this is doing is it's reading the upstream spectrum directly from the CMTS. So the CMTS knows when it's communicating with modems and when it's not. So we can actually show you the ingress under the carrier, which most of the time, if you wanted to see that, you'd need really expensive return path equipment that can sample very, very quickly. And in this case, you don't need that. If you've got a CMTS and this application, you're pretty much there. You've got it. So as you can see here, we're not seeing the haystack there, so that doesn't mess up your view. You can see the noise that's going on under this channel right here. So that's one change. So we've got, again, this is the active channel we're looking at, and this is the other channel. And the other thing we've added here is these code words and code word errors. So you can see the total code word errors on the channels that happen to be up here, and then you can see them increment up as the CMTS is basically sampling this data. So you see that we've got some correctable code word errors, 1.11%. We've got 0.07% uncorrectable. And this is going to vary up and down depending on the number of code words that are sent and how many code word errors there are as you know, comparison to this number here. And then you can see the same thing here. We've got about 0.26% correctable code word errors, about 0.02% uncorrectable. So that's looking at that channel, and it's very easy to switch to the other channel. I'm just going to click on the gray box here, and when I do that, you'll notice we'll start counting up on that one there. Everything sets back to 0 whenever you switch to a different channel. So my code word error counters have switched back to 0 now. And now you see that here is my yellow band that I am looking at, and yeah, you can see my mouse cursor. So, and that yellow band is the channel that I'm looking at now, and now you can see the noise that's under that channel. You can see it actually, it's better right there. Before, you see we've got a lot of noise in this part of the spectrum right here, so some of that was under the channel as we looked at that. So same thing now, I've got the code word errors, and this is the channel I'm looking at, and you can see now, I don't care, obviously this is showing up as noise because this is an adjacent channel, and this is communicating with cable modems, and we're not interested in that. We're looking at this one, so that's why you see my maximum is way up here, and my ingress under the carrier is way up here because this is just showing up as noise to what I'm looking at right now. You can move, you've got your reference level here that you can move up and down like that if you wanted to get more that way. Go that way. You've got your amplitude per division that you can change if you want to compress things or elongate them like that. You can do this. There we go. So I like that. So then I can go here. I'm going to go back to the gray one just again give you an idea. So this red line is ingress under the carrier, and I'm going to go back to the gray one by just clicking here. And when I do that again, my counter is going to go back to 0. But you can see, you can look at the noise here, and it's quite a bit more. You've got up here, let me see, you've got color filling. I can turn the color filling off. A lot of people like the color filling, but if I don't like that, I can turn that off and just have my lines, only my lines. And for some reason, I'm not seeing, I'm only seeing my ingress under the carrier, and I'm not sure why. Let me see, let's turn on my max hold. That's off now. So can't explain that. Murphy's Law, something's going wrong here as I'm looking at it, but there should be, I should be seeing my live line and my max hold and my min hold, and I think I was seeing that in the beginning. But in any event, you can turn your color filling on and off here. When I do that, it's going to turn the colors back on, and you can also turn off the spectrum analyzer right there where it's not sending you any data, and for some reason I am not seeing data come in here. I'm going to go ahead and pick a different node and see what happens here. Something went wrong, could not set analyzer. Okay, maybe something is going wrong here. Let me try the one I was just on. Interesting. That's not the one I was just on. I just happened to pick this one earlier and it worked. This is a live system. Okay, so that system seems to be fine. I guess those others were not set up. And now I'm seeing all my lines, so I don't know what was going on there. But now I can see, I'll turn the color filling off again. So now I can see all my lines, my green min line, my live black line, max blue line, and then my red. And I don't know if it was maybe when I was changing the levels here, for some reason that stuff got turned off. I'm not sure if that's a bug. But anyway, that's without the color filling. Turn that on, and then I get my color filling here again. So again, you can see on this side of things, I am looking at, here's my channel, and I can see noise in here. So this would be hidden on a lot of spectrum analyzers if you're looking at it, because this haystack would be in the way, and you wouldn't be seeing what was going on under the haystack here. So that's a nice feature there. And again, we've got the code word errors counting up. So those are the main things. And you can turn max hold, min hold, and live off if you want to. For some reason, they weren't showing up a minute ago, and I'm not sure why, but I can turn those off and get kind of what I was just looking at before, which was I was just seeing my ingress line for some reason. So there we go, turn those back on. And again, you can see the black line moving. That's my live spectrum as it's coming in. So that's the changes to Upstream Analyzer. And then we had Upstream Monitor, which was a little bit different than it is now. We still have history, but now we call Upstream Monitor, or now Upstream Monitor looks like this. So I'm going to go ahead and pick maybe the same node. It's this one here. So now what we're looking at is historical spectrum, and I can click to go back and forth on that. So it's currently showing 1010, 2021, and I can go forward, and I can look and see how this has changed. And you can see it's you know, it's not monitoring every moment. I mean, it's a couple of times a day, it looks like. So there's 10:11, a couple of 10:11, 10:11. So several hours. It looks like every hour. Yeah, every hour on a day. So this is all 1 per hour on October 11th, and I can see how things have changed. Every now and then I'll see this, and I'm not sure what that is, where everything shrinks down. You've got this big jump here. Again, it's just going to, whatever it's seeing at that time that it takes a snapshot, it's going to plot on here. So you get some weird looking stuff like that sometimes. So that's why I think we get a change from something like this to this. It may depend on whether some noise is showing up way here out in this area of the spectrum, whereas here there was nothing much, or we had this thing. I'm not sure what that is actually what I'm saying. Here there's nothing much going on down there, so it's not showing up. And you can hit the play button too and just kind of let that roll through. Gives you an idea of what's been going on historically. And as you're doing that, again, I'm looking right now, this is the channel that I'm interested in, and here's my ingress under the carrier line. So maybe that's what I'm looking at since I've got some issues there. So I'm going to just let that play backward. And you can kind of see how that changes over time. And I did notice when I was looking at this particular channel, I think it was a couple weeks ago, I didn't see that kind of noise on there, and you can see it looks better, doesn't it? So as I'm going back in time, that's 10:12. Go back further in time. Getting some odd results there in some cases, but like right there, if I'll stop that. So you can see I'm not really seeing the same kind of thing there or out here as well. Whereas if I go further, or I go closer to where I was, let's see, that's 10:13. Actually, now I want to go forward. See when this changed, if it did change. It's 10:15. I think I'm starting to see things tick up there. 10:16. Or maybe this is a recent occurrence. Maybe it's just going on today. So I'm not seeing, as I get to 10:17, not really seeing the ingress be like what I'm seeing right now. 18. Oh, yeah, okay. So we're starting to see some uptick there. So, and here as well. So it looks like 10:19. Things maybe started to get a little bit noisy there. And I'm seeing some of that as well. That's as far as I can go. But same thing here. That again, it's kind of squeezed in for some reason here now. But if I look at this portion of the graph, I can see what looks like to me like things have gotten worse on this part of the spectrum recently. So you can see how powerful that can be that you do that. And again, I can go back to the main Upstream Analyzer, the current one, and we can see what's going on currently on that. And again, this is the channel I'm looking at. It's kind of hard to see probably this yellow band right here, but it's this color that's on this chart. And you can see that the noise has really picked up here on this end of the spectrum. So Upstream Analyzer and Upstream Monitor, basically it's real-time spectrum as it comes in from the CMTS, and then you can get these 1-hour snapshots over time through the Upstream Monitor. So that's what that is. I was going to show the reports today also, a couple things in reports, including, as I mentioned in my email, if you got that, if you're a customer of ours, you got an email, I'm going to show a OFDM capacity planning feature in here. But first, let's just see what we got in here. If I go into reports, we've got standard reports, custom reports, and then we've got the full band capture capacity analyzer. And that's really the DOCSIS 3.1 planning feature that I was talking about that we'll look at here in a minute. So we've got standard reports, and first thing I want to mention was the node ranking report is here now. So I forget where it is in version 4, but if you're looking for that, you like that report, and you get on here, it's like, where did it go? It's under the reports, and it's under the standard reports as a node ranking report. And I can select a CMTS, and I could put in a node if I wanted to, and I can generate that report. And here I am, and it's showing me, looks like showing me all the nodes on that CMTS. And I can, a couple of things I can do here. I can hit this little chart here, and I see basically the in-channel frequency response and the digital taps for all devices on this particular node. And you can see a lot of them on this node are kind of clustered in the green, which is good. Green is always good. And you've got some, obviously some outliers here. where you've got problems. And the same thing here, we've got some devices that are well over the threshold. Not a lot that are, I don't have anything that's way out here, so I don't see any real far out outside plant, long echo cavity outside plant issues out here, because this is my threshold and all of these taps are down here. But this is in-home issues. This is in-home to near-home issues also as well, 9 and 10. We start getting outside plant here. I got a couple that are over. So that just gives me an overall view of this particular node. And I guess did I click that first one? I'll check another one here. And you can see this one's quite a bit different. So we've got most of our signal is bad on this one. So you can see we've got lots of taps that are over the threshold here further out, like 18, 17, we've got 15, 14, 13. We've got the in-home issues as well. And you can see the in-channel frequency response is really bad on the majority of modems as well. We've got a few, we got only a few that maybe are in the green on this particular node. So let's look at another one. And you can, as you can see, you can export this or save that particular image. Let's check this one. This one's kind of similar to the first. If this is not the, I don't know if this is the first one I looked at, but we've got a lot in the green there. Let's look at one down here. This one's got some in the green. That one's kind of a mixture. So you can see what that does for you. And you can map these as well. So let's look at, is this the bad one? Yeah, so let's look at this one on the map. So if you click the map pin, we'll wait a moment, and that's going to pull up all the devices on this node. And just a reminder, if you haven't been with me on the previous broadcast, these modems aren't actually where they appear on the map. We are looking at a real cable plant, but that cable plant is in the far north somewhere. We're down in southeast. So we're taking the devices and the readings coming from them. We're plotting on a map in Alpharetta, Georgia, where our office is located. So you get here, when you do this, you get basically a look at the node. And you can get here another way, as I showed in a previous, I think it was last week, I showed how to use the map, and you can zoom in on a node, and then you can double-click the node icon, and you'll pull up kind of the same thing here. And I think maybe it's exactly the same thing. So you can get your count right here and look at these devices on the map, and we can see lots of red devices here. You go back. Actually, if I go back here, let's look at a good one, which I think was this one. Nope, that's the bad one. I don't know if it'll look any different. Let's go ahead. That's the better one. And let's do the map on that one. See what we get. And you can see, again, you've got now, things look better on what would be the devices on this node. We've got some green devices, some yellow. We've only got a few reds. And you've got your count over here. Of all the devices on the node. We can see we've only got 5 red modems on this particular one. So again, that's kind of the high-level node report that is available in the reports here as you look at that under the standard reports. Intermittent modem report, I was going to just remind everybody of this. I did a great broadcast with Brady Volp that I'm going to link to as well in the comments that goes into this in more detail, but this is a fantastic feature. I'm just going to look at all nodes. I'm not going to pick one. This is a fantastic feature that tells you with high reliability that a device in a home is picking up noise from a nearby source. So that device is letting noise into your cable plant, into your upstream plant, which is very important because the more devices that you have in homes or around, more issues, ingress you've got coming in near the home, that's all going to flow back to the CMTS, and everybody on the upstream is going to be impacted. So this tells you that. Usually what I'll do is sort by the standard deviation, and I'll explain what that is in a minute. But right here, I'm just going to look for the worst standard deviation on some of these, and I'm just going to pick one here. And what this is showing you, it's interesting that it didn't note it here, but it looks at the cable transmit, or the cable modem transmit power, and also the digital tap response, and then if there is a correlation between one going up and one going down, then it says, as this modem is seeing noise, because as that noise comes in to the plant, that modem has to adjust its power in order to compensate for that. And then we kind of plot this green line when we say, yeah, this looks like a definite correlation, although you can use your eyes as well, because the reason this one didn't plot is because there's this period where I think we have to see 2 polling periods where we see change, and in this case, it's 1 polling period, and then it looked okay for a couple of polling periods, and then another polling period and went down. And then again, we've got a flat area here where it's one polling period, and then there's not much change. So when you've got variations like this, it's going to plot a green line, but you can see with your own eyes as well that, oh yeah, every time these things are almost a mirror of each other. So that's telling you that as one value is changing, the other one is changing to compensate. So that's the intermittent modem report, and that's how you get there, is from these standard reports. And then also, if we see an intermittent modem on the, and I'll see if I can pull it up now. That was this one. If we see an intermittent modem, we also will let you know that on the modem screen. So you'll notice I just clicked on the MAC address and I pulled up the device data here, and you'll notice up at the top we put intermittent modem, and then you can click right there to see the chart. We also tell you what's going on with this modem. As I've mentioned before, you've got upstream failed parameters of transmit power and micro reflection level, which that transmit power being out of sync is probably part of what we're seeing with the intermittent modem report, and the micro reflection is going to be what's causing things to go a little haywire. So yeah, again, if I look at this device, doesn't look too bad actually. Everything's in the green here, but it does have this micro reflection, and it does, more importantly, have this intermittent modem chart that we were just looking at from the intermittent modem report. But you can see I can pull it up here as well, right from the modem screen. All right, back to reports. There's a birth certificate report here, modem by node report that you can look at. Just pick the CMTS and the node, and you can select what you want to see right there. So let's try this. I haven't looked at this yet. Let's just go with let's pick a deal there, and that's going to show you, then you're going to pull up devices here. So these are standard reports that are in there. A birth certificate report to show you any birth certificates that were run. And when you do that, you can then see what's passed and what's failed. So let's take one that's failed, and you can open that, and you can open that device, and you can see the birth certificate right there. That's always up on the top of the modem screen. And here's one that passed. Pick that one. Again, I can hit that one. This one also has an intermittent modem report, obviously. Oh, actually, I'm not on that, so this one does as well. Let's click that real quick. So, okay, so here's an example of where everything went to 0. That's usually an indication of an issue, but then you've also got this tracking as a issue right here as well. And then you've got, again, going to 0. So you can go back in time and see what's going on as well for at least a couple of days. So this one is another, this modem looks really good, but yet the birth certificate failed when it was first installed. No, I'm sorry, this was the good modem. This one passed. So everything looked good on this modem. Everything's green. So that's your birth certificate report. What else we've got here? System-wide report. This would be good. This is good for folks, and some people wanted this, requested this, so it was put in. This is if you want to, let's say, maybe once a week, take a snapshot of your plant, and it's going to show you the CMTS health and everything, and you just run that. And when you do, I'm going to say generate report. It's a zip. Well, I thought it was going to ask me for an email. Maybe I'm thinking of another report. So it just generated into a zip file. So I think, again, this would be if you wanted to, I'm thinking a custom report maybe. This would be if you wanted to keep tabs on your, I'm not going to bother opening that, but if you wanted to keep tabs on your plant maybe once a week, then you can run that report, kind of archive that, and you can compare from week to week, see what's changed. So it's just a good snapshot that you can run on a regular basis. Automated birth certificate report. I believe this was put in for the pandemic, and it had something to do with customers who are doing their own self-installs. If you need more information on that, you'll let me know. I don't know all of the details on that. And what else have we got here? We've got geocoding report, I believe, which shows you just all devices that are geocoded in the system, and probably more importantly, maybe those that are not. So it may show you those that are not geocoded. And then there's custom reports. So you can report on just about anything you want in here. You can select a CMTS. You can select a node if you want. Then you can pick different parameters and on things that you want to see. Maybe you won't only want to see devices that have a specific micro reflection level between one value and another, or TDR, which would be, this is what's now known as IH, or in-home issues, in the application when you look at the figure, or VTDR, which is now outside plant. So these would be, if you've got those outside plant longer microreflections versus shorter microreflections right here. And you can, again, put in values for that. So you can select specifically which things you want to report on, and that could be in the upstream, or you could pick downstream and look at power, MER, correctable and uncorrectable code word errors. And on this is the one I was thinking of. On here, you've got to put in your email address, and you just name the report, and that's because we'll then go out and schedule this report and kind of run it so that it's not putting a lot of strain on the CMTS to report all this information. So it's just something that, when you want to do that, you can get that custom report there. All right, this is the full band capture capacity analyzer. So I'm going to hit generate report, and it's not going to show me much on this particular system because we don't have any. This system is just not. It's either not prepared for DOCSIS 3.1, or I think maybe what it is you need to have channels. Yeah. So as I run this. Normally what you'll see, and I'm actually going to show you a screenshot of what it would look like on a system that's kind of prepared for this report. But normally what you would see, in this case, everything shows as 0, right? But it would show you a percentage of device, or a percentage of, I think it's devices, I guess, or a percentage of the spectrum, or devices on that spectrum that would support these different QAM modulations of 256, 1024, and 4096. Right here, everything's at 0. What you would need to do, and you'll notice here it's at 750 megahertz and above, so that's what we're looking at, which a lot of times is kind of the roll-off area, and people are not using this. So they want to know what can we do with OFDM up in this upper part of the spectrum. But what you have to do in order for this to really work properly is you have to put in test channels above 750 megahertz to do that, or put in an OFDM channel up here and then run it and then see what happens. But in this case, it's not going to show you anything, really. I think because it's not really, there's nothing up here to test, I believe, is why that is. But I'm going to show you, pull up here. So here you see what it would look like in a situation where you actually have some channels, I guess, that are up here that you can look at. And it's maybe hard for you to see, and I can't really point to anything, but you've got the lower green area. Then you've got the lighter green area, then you've got kind of the lighter tan area, and those are the different modulations. So the green would be 4096, and then the lighter yellowish color is 1024, then you've got 256, and then you've got the 0 that doesn't support that. But you do have that band in that spectrum, which I can't see. It's too small for me to see where that is, but you can maybe see that on the other screen here. I can't see it. So you've got that band of spectrum there. And you'll see that the mouse was over the yellow area, and what you're seeing there, I think if I recall, it's saying that I believe 40% is what it was saying, is that 40% of that spectrum was capable of 1024. The green area was 20%, so about 20% was capable of 4096, and then the rest was, I think, 80% to 256. So it's showing you in that area above 700 megahertz, which channels support or would, have the OFDM capability and what you would get, because I think that's where the test channels are. So those in that particular band right there. And then what you do with that, this next one here, let's bring that up. So, and I'll show this on the map in a second, although it won't look right, but you can then plot. And there'd be a lot more devices here. This was on a lab CMTS, but then you can see any devices and where they are on the map, and then what those particular devices would support as far as their QAM modulation. So you'll see there's a green one on there, and I think maybe a couple of yellow ones and a brown one, maybe, can't really tell. So generally, that's going to show you, the further away you are, let's say, from the node, then the harder it's going to be to get the higher order modulations. Closer you are, the easier it's going to be. So it kind of lets you know when you do this, and then you plot them on the map. You can see all the devices, and you can say, well, this particular customer here, it looks like I could send them a DOCSIS 3.1 modem, and they could actually get 4096 or something, some good performance. Whereas this other guy that's way out here, this kind of brown or lighter tan, he's not going to have as good performance. So I need to do some work in that area, in that geographic area. And then the other one showing you, in the spectrum where I need to, what I can support, and maybe I need to do some additional work in some of these channels where I've got, maybe if you've got less green and more brown, that kind of thing. And I was going to show this on our demo system here. Go back to this. So again, we don't have anything here. So when I pull this up on the map, you'll see that it's not going to really. Oh, and you can see unused spectrum as well, but that's not going to show much here as well. So you got used and unused spectrum. So I'm going to click on the map here and show this. And give it a second to load. Or, you know what, I'm not going to do it this way because I'm not sure because of the fact, that I don't really have any. Oh, there it is. So it's just bringing me to the map. So I'm going to scroll in now. There's my nodes, and I'm going to scroll in to see all my modems. And let's see if that layer is going to load for me. Yeah. So it's loading that layer, and you can see again because there's no test channels or anything like that. I don't have anything that's going to show green or yellow or any of that, but you can see that it's now showing me all of the devices, and these are actually these have to be 3.0 devices that support full band capture, I believe, because what this is doing, and this is why it's called full band capture capacity analyzer or FBC capacity analyzer, is because we're taking full band capture modems that are DOCSIS 3.0 and we're interpolating the data from that and saying what would this look like in a DOCSIS 3.1 environment, and what kind of modulation would this device most likely be able to get. So that's what we'd be looking at there. And in this case, again, this is not a, you have to look back at the other image I was showing. Actually, you are looking at the other image. I forgot to switch over here. Hang on one second. Let me go back to where I was. There we go. Okay, so this is what the map looks like. I forgot to switch. I did this last week at the very end of the broadcast. This is what the map looks like after you plot that data. And again, here I'm looking at a bunch of dark brown, and I can pull the legend here. So again, if I saw these colors, green, yellow, light tan, that would be showing me the 4096, the 1024, and the 256. This is less than 256 when you see that brown, and then we've got unused channels here. It's saying those are unused channels. I'm not sure what that means exactly, but if I had my test channels in there and I was looking at a map similar to the other one, then this is what would pull up. And again, these are all DOCSIS 3.0 full band capture compatible modems, and we're interpolating this data to then try to determine what order of modulation they would get if this were a DOCSIS 3.1 device. So then you could look at this map, and again, you could know, well, let's say these guys were green over here. You'd say these guys look like I could send them a DOCSIS 3.1. And if some of these were like this brown color here, and go, okay, well, that's going to be less than 256. It wouldn't be worthwhile. And again, that's dependent on where the node is. And you can get to this. I'm going to go back to the map from the dashboard just to pull the map fresh. Well, by the way I got there, let me go back, because you guys couldn't see it because I had the wrong thing on the screen. Let's see, again, FBC Capacity Analyzer, select the CMTS, generate the report, and this is what came up. And then I went go to map from here, and that is what pulled up the map. And whenever we pull up the map, we wait for the CMTS or the nodes to load, and then I zoomed in and I saw what I saw there. So I'm just going to wait again so you guys can see that since you didn't see it before. So it pulls up, in this case, with all of my nodes, and then I zoom in, and that's where I'm going to wait a second, and then I get this displayed on the map. So this is a layer that's on the map. But the other way you can see this, just so you're aware, is I can go to the map icon right here. Actually, that's not going to change because I've got it filtered already. So go back to the dashboard and go back to the map to start fresh. And again, I'm going to wait, and going from the map fresh, I'm going to see the CMTS, or the however many CMTS I have that geographically are located up here on the map, and then I can zoom in on that, and then I get to my node view, wait for those nodes to load, and then I get to my, here we go, and I get to my modems, and here are my modems. So this is just going in to the map the normal way, where I see my modems and their alert levels as far as pre-EQ data goes, but then you've got your layers up here. So here's the other way to get to that full band capture QAM capacity map, and that's by loading a layer right here. So do that, and now I see that same look that I was seeing. So that's the other way that you can get to that information. And as I was mentioning, you know, maybe the closer you are to the node, the more likely you are to get some of these green, maybe yellow devices. Well, you do have the ability in here to put in your strand map. So you can look at your active devices, your cables, your passive devices, your poles. So you get a good idea of where things are. So as you're looking at those devices and you realize, well, okay, here's my problem. There's no strand maps in here. I can't show you this, but you can see, well, I've got lots of active and passive devices, but you know, between this run here, and that's why that's why I can't do the higher order modulations there. So you might look and say, okay, well, here's what I need to do for this customer way down here who's dark brown. Here's what I need to do to get them to be able to get a better DOCSIS 3.1 experience if I were to send them or give them a DOCSIS 3.1 modem. Because again, these are all DOCSIS 3.0 modems with full band capture, and we're using that data to try to interpolate how they would perform in a DOCSIS 3.1 environment with OFDM channels. So hopefully that makes sense. I apologize for not having the map up there and talking to the old slide there for a bit. I forgot to switch that over. So that's DOCSIS 3.1 Capacity Planner. I was going to show just a couple of things that I did not have answers to last time that I want to show now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off this layer. I'm just going to put on the upstream again. So the other day when I was showing the polygon thing, where is it? It's over here. There it is. There's Rick's modems. So I created a polygon when I was showing this the other day, and I couldn't remember how to turn it off. So you can see the polygon is still here. So I'm going to go in and I'm just going to zoom in on this section here. What I did was I just put a polygon around these modems, and what I was showing was that, okay, it's showing me the area, showing me that it's 0.019 square kilometers or 0.007 square miles, and I couldn't figure out how to turn it off once I put it on, but it's actually very easy. So again, you just go to the toggle area, which is where it is, and here's where it's going to show the polygons that you created. And I missed this little trash icon surrounded by the polygon. So you can recenter the map on the polygon if you want to do that. So if I'm somewhere totally different and it's like, oh, what do I do with my polygon? Where is that? I can just go right there, and there it is. And I can zoom in. You can rescan the polygon. So if you've encircled or polygoned some modems, you can rescan those just by doing that. And then you can delete your polygon right here. So I'm just going to click delete, and it's gone. And that's as simple as that. And how do you add one? Well, you just go right here and you say draw polygon mode. And let's say I want to look at these right here. I'm just going to click, 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 and you can just draw the devices that you want your polygon. Double click, and there it is. And then again, you can name it Rick Modems. Save it. And there it is. And that polygon, now again, I could rescan those modems. So if this could be an area that you want to keep an eye on. Again, maybe you want to check them out. Maybe you want to rescan them later. It's always easy to find. You can name them, and if you name more than one, I haven't done it, but I'm assuming they're going to show up down here, all your different polygons. And you can always find them by doing recenter, and you can always delete it right there, and it's gone. So that was that. The other thing I showed, and I wasn't sure how it worked, was I'm going to go back to the dashboard. And that was in, I believe, this area here. If you go to my account, yeah, so you've got, I showed this how you got color preferences. If somebody's colorblind, they can change colors. You've got your time zone preferences. And you've got locations. So when you go to the dashboard, you're going to see everything unless you restrict your view. So if you're somebody who's only responsible for a certain number of nodes or even hubs on a node, then you can go in here and say, I want this to be my region, and then you'll see only those things. And I was like, okay, well, that's where you do it, but where do you name these things? And I wasn't sure. So the way that you can actually map your CMTS for that way is down here under config, and that's where your managed CMTS is, but here's your CMTS mapper. So this is where you can add, you can go in, this is what we were seeing right there, but I can add a new region right there. I can come in here. I can add a new hub right there. I can name them something, so I can name them. So that's where somebody would go in and name these different regions and zones, regions, hubs, CMTS, or whatever you want to refer to it. And that way, the users can go in here and they can go under the preferences where I just was. Again, back to here. So once you've done that, you can go under location preferences, and then that user can go in here and select. They can be selected for everything, or they can pick just some sub zones or sub areas, different hubs or whatever that they're responsible for. That way, when you go to the dashboard, and let's say I click this, and I'm getting my health and my red modems and my change over time. Right here, you see everything is selected. So there's 4 CMTS actually in here, but we only had 1 in the map. We only have fake addresses for 1. But you can see I'm getting data for all of these 4 CMTS, the total number of modems and the health and all this. Once you change the zone for your whatever your preference is, then this will change as well. So then you will only be seeing these numbers that represent your zone that you've selected. And then the same for these things, all of these graphs and charts and all of the devices that appear in here. For example, you won't see, there might be a big cable plant with, I don't know, 10 CMTS or something in the system. You don't want to see every correlation group, so you will only see the correlation group for your zones if you do that. So that's what that is. I explained that last time, but I couldn't remember, or I don't even think I knew where the CMTS mapper was to take care of that. So that is where that is. So, all right, well, again, if you are a PreEqualization Analyzer user, you will be seeing this very soon. If it's something that you want to try sooner rather than later, you can contact your business account manager at zQuorum, and they can make sure that you get on the schedule to get switched over. If this was helpful, then go ahead, please give me a thumbs up on the video. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Click the little bell icon, and when you click the bell icon, then you'll be notified anytime I'm live. If you are not a PreEqualization Analyzer user, but you're like, wow, this looks pretty cool. What is this PNM stuff? How do I get it for my cable plant? Well, you can go ahead and just give us a call or email info@zquorum.com. We'll be happy to talk to you, send you information, give you a demo, that kind of thing of the system. You can do a trial of the system. So we can actually set it up on one of your CMTS so you can actually try it out and see all of the issues that may be hidden. It may look like you've got a good cable plant because PreEqualization is turned on your CMTS and it's leveling everything out, but you never know what's going on underneath that until you get a tool like this. And this will show you what PreEQ is compensating for. So then you'll see, okay, well, I've got all these micro reflections on my plant. I didn't realize that. Or I've got all these modems letting ingress in. And now I can go tackle those. And you can actually, through this tool, improve your plant. So you can improve the plant over time, and you can improve your operation by doing proactive maintenance. So you can go out and fix some of these things before things start breaking. PreEQ is compensating and making everything look good, but there's a point where, as we all know, cable plants, over time, they don't get better, they get worse. So there's more, those cracks get bigger, those connectors get looser. And over time, while PreEQ is compensating, eventually the cable modem doesn't have enough headroom to compensate anymore, and then it goes off a cliff. And that could impact one customer if it's just an in-home, near-home problem, or it could impact 5, 10, 20 customers or more if that is a cluster of modems that are being impacted by a common impairment, like maybe a piece of underground or overhead cable that's got a crack in it or something like that. And maybe there's a bunch of modems that are passing through a micro reflection that impairment is causing. So, all right, well, thanks for joining me. I will be back next week. I'm not sure what the topic is yet. I've got a couple of ideas, but join me. And then also just a note for the future. I plan on doing a what is DOCSIS PNM? Why is it important? Kind of more of a concept kind of presentation, less about the tool, although I'll show some examples from the tool, but more about what it is and what some of the terms are, those kinds of things. So if you're a PreEqualization Analyzer user, I'll let everybody know when I do that. And just for anybody else, just make sure you tune in. Again, click the little bell. You'll be notified when I'm live, and you'll hopefully get to see that. So thanks for joining me today. I will be here next week at 3 o'clock. See you then. Bye-bye.